Please welcome our moderator for this evening, Marcus Jones, awards editor at IndieWire.
Here we go. Oh my gosh. I'm meeting them the same time as you are, but I do want to once again thank you all for coming to Dreaming Whilst Black. Please let me introduce the creator, the producer, the star, Adjani Salmon, who plays Kwabena. And we have Dani Moseley, who plays Amy. Demmy Ladipo, who plays Maurice. And Babirye Bukilwa, who plays Vanessa. Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you all the way here in LA. I know you guys are getting ready for some season 2 stuff, and that's why they're not here with us. People are busy, booked and busy. But Adjani, I want to start with you. Takes a lot of time to become an overnight success. I know this show has a bit of a preamble with the web series. Would you consider this more a continuation? Is this series kind of reflective of the journey going from web to TV?
First of all, thanks for having us, everybody. We appreciate it. Yeah, I would say it's a reimagining of the web series. We made the web series when we came out of film school, and that was like a very raw, brass, like rant at the industry. And I guess when we came on the BBC, it was like, when they came on board and Showtime came on board, it was like, oh, let's refine these ideas a bit.
Yeah, and I think what comes with this is that the topics that the show covers feel so relevant. But I think it's these subjects that constantly remain relevant. Like, did you, at the time, sort of have any other shows or projects that you found it to be in conversation with, or now like continuing conversation with? Anything from like thinking of how Kwabena would feel about a show like Top Boy, all the way to how like this show itself tackles subjects similar to American fiction. Like, I do think that there are comparisons to be made and comparisons to be made throughout the years, since this was such a long journey.
Yeah, it's interesting how the more things change, the more it remains the same. I feel like it's funny because we try not to think about audience or think about like social media or what's currently happening. It's just, what would we like to do? And for whatever reason, it seems it's almost like the show prophesizes itself. So sometimes it feels like we like to make the joke that it's a documentary, because while making the show, things tend to keep happening that almost feels like we're writing ourselves into existence.
I mean, that brings up the question I was going to ask you, and I think any of you could answer this. But would you ever describe this show as heightened? Because, like you said, I do think that there is truth even to just some things are stranger than fiction, and I think this show may represent that. And I think you've even said there's something to some of the racist jokes that you didn't want to make that a real like creation.
So I'll say just one thing from my end is that we thought of the craziest thing possible to write, and that turned. So in episode 5, there's a cartoon where they teach Black history, but in a like, both sides of the coin way. But I will say that when we came up with that, we were like, oh yeah, this is the craziest thing that you could ever possibly do. And like, this would never happen, but it's whatever, it's a show. Only to then see like the DeSantis cartoons in Florida, like while we were coming out. And I was like, oh, this isn't that crazy.
Oh my gosh. Demmy, do you ever feel like Maurice is heightened, or do you feel like that's the energy that you bring sometimes, or that person?
I think that in some scenarios he's a little bit heightened, he's a little bit like on edge. But also at the same time, I think when you are about to become a dad, sometimes in your mind, things can be as heightened as that, because you're about to crash into this new world. that you have no bearings of, no idea, you've never done it before. So sometimes in your mind, it can feel exactly as on edge or heightened as Maurice sometimes comes across with the baby on the way.
Yeah, I think this show is incredibly funny. I mean, we see it in the first 2 episodes, definitely. But the audience, I don't know if you've watched the full show yet, some of you, but we do get into some serious moments. And how important was it for you to show that aspect of Mo as well, and sort of dealing with the birth scenes that we see a little bit later?
Yeah, definitely. It was very important to have that balance where you can get the some of the more funnier, more comedy, more quirky moments, but also it gets grounded with the very real aspect of. I think when you get to that episode, you kind of realize, okay, so this is like sort of game time, and all the build up leading up to this, you can see why it's been so, just nerve-wracking and everything. And then you get to the real moment where it's like, okay, this is it. It's going to be a dad. And now you have to be prepared for something that you have no idea how to prepare for. So, it was very important trying to tell that story. I think it was important just representing a present willing Black dad on screen as well. I think that was an important thing to do. So hopefully I was able to do that for all the Black dads out there. Yeah.
Amazing. And another thing, oh yeah, shout out to the people clapping. Hopefully you can hear that in the UK. But Dani, one thing I wanted to ask about Amy, and particularly Amy and Kwabena, is that this is the friendship we get to see on the show that is rooted in their professional ambitions as well. And so the show kind of having a meta leaning to it, like, was it nice to kind of act out these two characters putting each other on, where meanwhile in a way where like the industry in the UK is small, and so I can imagine you all fellow Black British artists are like putting each other on and working together in different ways. And so how did it feel to both like play that and also live it working on this series?
It felt easy. It felt easy, and it felt like we were able to show the life that we live. We were able to show the lives that most of our friends live. And what's been really interesting is that, each of us, and I'll specifically speak to my experience, I get DMs from people that say to me, like, Amy's character, that is me at work most days, like that kind of just me. And it's nice because I'm like, we're engaging and people are like, I'm being seen, like I recognize like that's my life. But I also get people saying, but it's triggering. It's triggering to know that actually this happens a lot of us. The fact that you've made a show about it means it clearly happens enough that you're able to show it, and loads of people are able to engage with that and able to relate to that. But I also am aware that obviously because it has the comedy elements, they can kind of laugh about it rather than be upset and cry about it, because that's generally what you would do without the comedy. And again, it's just nice that people just recognize, they're like, people, I know sometimes people, because they see you and they think you're an actor, that they kind of know you and they don't know where from, but it's been quite interesting for Amy that people genuinely think they do know me, they must have seen me somewhere, because I relate so much to a friend that they know. Like most people in the Black community, they know Amy. If they haven't been an Amy themselves, they know someone, and that can doesn't matter the gender. There's people that like DM'd me and like, yep, I got passed over for a job and I had to train the person that then took over, and even though I've been here for longer, and they've come in, and it's just like, I'm really sorry to hear that, and it still happens. So it's going to be interesting to see for season 2 how much further we keep showing that and how that changes as well, because there's other things to being a Black creative as well in the UK. So,
for sure, Adjani, I think to that end, like one thing I feel like this show captures so well is I found myself almost talking to the screen. There are times where we want Amy or Kwabena or any of you to kind of be like blow up because the stuff that they're kind of dealing with. And then when there are the times where they maybe do react, it's like, oh, no, not then. And so, Adjani, how do you kind of find that balance to where it is like never quite the moments matching up to where like this would be the time to react versus, wait, was this the right time to react in sort of their journey?
I don't know. I feel like I try to root it in reality, because like, look, most of us believe that in the moment we would do the righteous thing, right? Until the moment comes when, you know, it's time to do the thing, but you're so blindsided by the moment that you don't. But what that normally leads up to is, you know, you build up. It's almost like a cyclist on a road, and you're used to getting bad driven by cars, and it's like, well, fine, it's a car, whatever. But like the one time it might be your mistake, but because it's not normally your mistake, you know, like, you know what? And you give them like road rage, and it's like, oh wait, no, like you're the one who kind of run out the road this time. So it's always kind of playing in that dynamic of us not quite, like the road is not designed for us. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have to make our way through it. And I think that's our guiding light of like, I don't know, how can we be surprising or with our audience, you know, especially because we have this dreaming element. It's always a challenge in the room, in the edit. When do we subvert people's gaze or not? But yeah, we just play, honestly, we just try to have fun. That's what we all try to do on the show.
Yeah. And with sort of the dream element that we see a bit, Babirye, I wonder in playing Vanessa, if one of the exciting things about finding the character is that there's the Vanessa that lives in his dreams, and that's how we're like kind of first introduced to her. And then there's the real Vanessa that we slowly meet. And so do you all have conversations, and what is it like sort of stepping into this role that does have the two aspects of like the dream self and the real romance that we get to see?
Hi. It's a really good question. It's really interesting because she's a fantasy. She's like Kwabena's like dream girl. And so it was really there was actually elements where it was like, oh, okay, well, this is the sequence Vanessa. So like, does the dream sequence Vanessa walk a certain way? Does she hold herself a certain way? How does dream Vanessa like kiss? But then I feel like the Vanessa that you see like at the restaurant or with Amy or when she's interacting with her friends, I feel like she's a very assured, like very like confident, like amplification of this dream. I really enjoyed the fact that I could, it was because she is this dream. The way in which the writing was that I got to do the same scene twice, like the truth of it, and then like the joke. So, sorry. No, because you know the scene when like she comes out the car and he's like, I love you, and he's worked up all this, like, my guy's worked up all of this energy to be like, I love you, like, please don't leave. And she's like, I love you too. And we're like, yay. And then actually, my girl's on her way to the airport for that food. So like, I was like, it's almost like I got to play two versions of a character, which was really fun. And yeah, like, it was a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah. American audiences have been lucky enough to see some shows that cover Black British life a little bit, thinking of I May Destroy You or something like that. But I think with this show in particular, kind of the unique aspect is that it is almost even more of a representative of what sort of Black British life is like, in that like we get a deeper understanding of kind of, there's a difference between growing up the child of Nigerian immigrants versus Caribbean immigrants, and sort of seeing like it's not just because it's a smaller community, it's not a monolith, and sort of seeing the interactions. Even there's a Ghanaian jollof joke in one of the episodes as well. And so how has it been to see the show get such a great reaction from American audiences in general, but especially people embrace that aspect of like a deeper understanding of what life may be like on the other side of the Atlantic?
Who's going to take it? I'll jump in on this one. I don't even remember the question. I'm just going to talk about just the. I'm just going to talk about just the like the experiences of the diaspora in terms of like the Black African aspect. The Black Caribbean aspect. It was so wonderful to be a part of it and to tell it as authentically as we could, because we know as a part of that diaspora that it's important to our people and all the different little branches of the beautiful Black tree that we do it justice and get those in-jokes, get those little idiosyncrasies, those small little nuanced things that only we would be able to do. So to put that on the screen, because I think for so many of us growing up, we didn't have that growing up. We saw it from America in terms of like, all the amazing sitcoms that you had that a lot of us grew up on. So to be able to put in all those in-jokes, put in all those sorts of esoteric little bits of
nuances.
Yes, to put in all those little bits of magic. Honestly, it was just an absolute pleasure to do them, and it was just so great to see them back and to actually watch it with audiences and for them to see themselves on the screen. They'll be like, oh, that happens at my house. So yeah, that was one of the best parts of being a part of this. That's my answer.
And also, that there's a part where I'm sure you've seen in episode 2 where Auntie Lola doesn't get the video that she wanted for her birthday, which is shame. And she says something in Yoruba, but it's not subtitled. And I think, Adjani, I remember that we were being interviewed by someone, and I think, did you say that BBC wanted us to know what it was to subtitle? And you were just like, no, that's not for us. Actually, if you're from Europe, then that's great for them. That's not for us. And they were like, okay. And it's nice that we can say that, because so we were interviewed, and then the person that was interviewing us was Yoruba, and she was able to tell us what it meant, but we had no idea. Adjani was like, until this point, I've never known what she said, but that's good to know, because it wasn't a joke. If you weren't Nigerian from Europe, it wasn't your joke. It was just for them. And it's nice that we have moments show where it's just for certain people, because sometimes I think it's like, we're going to just do it for all these people and the main people that know. And it's like, actually, there's enough content and there's enough episodes. We can have jokes for a couple of other people, and it can just be for them. And I think little nuggets like that, really nice. And it makes
even like to piggyback off, even to piggyback off of, it's my new thing. It's my new thing. Even like this is really small, and it's not necessarily specific to like the Black British experience, but I would say it's very specific to like the experience of Black people raised as girls, women, trans women. It's just, this Vanessa's hair journey is like really impeccable, if I do say so myself. And it's just, because one scene, Kwabena and Vanessa are doing locks together. Another scene, Vanessa's got a straight wig. Another scene, Vanessa's got a straight wig with a wig. Another scene, Vanessa's, what? And just, it was just like a normalized thing. Even Amy's hair, like this, the nuances of like the representation of aesthetics, just like on a base of aesthetics, like, which is, yeah, I mean, like, we can still dream, but like, just in that as it was just very culturally specific. And I still get people, whenever I have my natural hair out, people are like, it's locks, it's the locks. It's like, oh my God, locks, like, wow, amazing. I've never seen this. I've never seen that on TV. Like, this, it's quite incredible. And I'm like, yeah, well, I think being in it, I wasn't really aware. And I have locks, so that's my life. And I wear wigs, that's my life. So still something that's like a giving gift for me to be part of.
Oh. Before we do audience questions, you guys haven't gotten to see the audience, so I'm just gonna turn the computer real quick so everyone can.
You haven't even seen them this whole time.
Oh wait, it's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Be an applause machine. Oh wow!
All right, say hi to everyone.
Goodness, hi. There's so many.
They've been clapping and supporting us this whole time, and we're just like.
I promise you, there were people here. But yeah, so some of them even asked some questions. All right, so yeah, I think to start, this is for all four of you. How has your life changed since season 1 aired? Has it opened opportunities? And how is the fame? This is from Carlton J. But I mean, I will say it was a real big hit in the UK, and I think it's sort of transformative show, and now American audience have responded as well. And so, yeah, how's you all's life changed since season 1?
Adjani, do you want to go first on that? It feels much longer than everyone else's.
It's great because you always want to make something that, like, we set out to make a show that Black people would love, that Black people could see themselves. But I guess you don't really think, or I didn't think about the ramifications of making a show that Black people would actually love and then put my face on the poster as well, which means every time I'm up on a train, somebody is like, yeah! You know, or like a random, yeah, it's just the random, like sometimes people would just be staring at me smiling. like, you know, and I'm just like, yo, like, or it's that weird meta-ness of like, even there's an episode where Dorvin talks about like, yo, how you still taking a bus? And it's like, yo, I kind of still take the bus. So yeah, it's great, but at the same time, we're like, damn, like really never think about this hard enough. But it's been great. It's been great.
It's been fun. I've been having conversations with some of the things that happened in the episode, and that happened specifically to Amy. I've had my white friends be like, that was me 2 years ago, wasn't it? I was like, well, I don't know. Do you see yourself? Was that you? It's been a nice conversation opener. And like Adjani, people have just been like, where do I know you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. And I'm like, no, we've met. Where have we met? What is it? And if I'm with someone, they'll say, oh, have you watched the show during when I was Black? And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. Why did I think I knew you? So it's been that. But also I will say career-wise, it's opened up doors to, I've always been in like one episode of things. So I've never really been on a character arc and a character journey. And now people have gotten to see me through the whole series. And they're just like, oh, that's what Dani can do. Thank you. They're like, that's what Dani can do. And even though I'm like, well, this is part of what I can do, but it's nice. It's a very nice thing to be like, oh, what are you in? Jim Ross Black, have a look. And everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. It's not a show that I'm like, oh, just watch episode 3. Don't worry about the rest. It's like, you take your time. Enjoy. And they do. And it's nice. And it's nice that as a representation for my family and friends, it's a show that I'm proud of. I'm proud that it's a show that we got to make. I'm proud that it opens up conversation. It's progressive. I'm proud that we've got a season 2. Like not everyone's, that hasn't happened to all the shows over there. So,
you know, it's changed life a bit similar to the rest of the guys in the sense of like now people kind of they see you and it's kind of like Top Boy? No, Ross Black.
The other black one. The other one. The other black one.
It's usually that, which is always nice. It's so, you know what's so cool is the amount of black guys that have come up to me and like, oh, hey, you know what? Hey, when my baby was coming, I was going through some of those things that you were going through, or hey, I was just as scared as you were. So that's really nice as well. A lot of mums, a lot of nice black mums say hello to me in the streets now, which is nice. And you know what's so cool is that I've loved acting ever since I was a kid. So I grew up watching, you know, all these shows, Fresh Prince and like just everything that you could imagine from like the 90s. And
Sister, all the other ones we love.
Yeah. And I grew up wanting to be in a really good Black show, and like I'm in one. So this is like, literally, like, as it's called, Dreaming Whilst Black. It's literally a dream. It's like a dream come true. Just being a part of this and just doing this. Like, we're talking to people in America right now at 4 a.m. It's really early.
Yes,
guys.
it's 4 a.m. over there, by the way. I should mention that as well. So.
You know, and this is work. This is cool. Yeah. So it's been beautiful. Can't wait to do season 2. Can't wait to give you guys more of the magic. And hopefully there's more of the money. So yeah. Get it.
Hey.
How about you, Babs?
It's actually been really quite transformative, to be very, very transparent and to be very honest. Classic me. I feel like, it's been an experience where I think for the first time, I've been involved in a lot of projects that have been very successful prior to Dreaming Whilst Black. And so this felt different in the sense of I've never had the Black queer community be like, go, run. Like I've never experienced that. I've never felt prouder to be Black and trans and gorgeous and like brilliant and like British and like a part of something, and like that has given me lots of hope. So actually, like the being a part of the show, especially because the show came about at a time where so much Black British content was being commissioned and made. And there was a sense, again, to be honest, there was a sense where it was like, at least not necessarily specific to this show, but there was a sense where it was like, we've got to get this show done because after this Black Lives Matter stuff, they're not going to care. And so the fact that like it was this amazing like cross-Atlantic sensation was one, and then on top of that, the fact that it was we loved it too, and then on top of that, people were just so invested, and then on top of that, my community was like, Babs, you're amazing, like thank you. And I was just like, rah, like I don't do it for that. So that has been a blessing. And finally, all of my family members who were like, this acting thing, you ain't gonna be making money, babes. Like, just come on, man. You ain't gonna be making money. What are you doing? For the first time, family members were like, oh, Babirye, well done. And I was like, but like, you know.
That's so real. That is so real.
Yes. Yeah. Just before we wrap, I'm going to combine 2 questions to be the last, because we want you all out there, if you haven't finished the season, you got to. So they saw the first 2 episodes, but Lionel and Karis were both wondering, do you all have a favorite scene or a favorite thing about the series, maybe that you want to preview for people in the audience or reflect on? Yeah.
For me, I won't say what it's about, but the last scene of the show for me was such a great thing to happen, because like the time pressure that we shot the whole sequence in like half an hour or something crazy. And it was with most of the family. So it was like Kwabena's entire family, and having the kind of intergenerational actors. So like you have like myself, Demmy, Rachel, who are like, you know, we're like the up and coming actors, and to have like established people like Joe Martin and Roger Griffiths and, you know, Kemi, like to have like all of us act in a scene together. It was such, and actually almost like it's like acting school, because they were like, don't worry, we got you.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, one take, we'll get this. And they smashed it like so seamlessly. It was just such a like family, it felt like a family moment for us, because it was like rather 2 generations of Black British actors who have come together to like work, which rarely ever happens. So that just felt like a really, I don't know, like a healing moment of like, yo, this is why we made this show. So that all of us get to play together and all of us get to like exchange and share and like pour into each other in a loving way. So yeah, for me, that was it. If you get there, you'll see it's pretty good.
I think we can preview it's in a movie theater. We don't know why, but yeah.
I would say that any scene containing me is a tribute to acting, and no. You know what? Jokes aside, I would say I think in episode 6, the opening of that scene, the opening scene of episode 6, to film that, it was like so hard to not laugh like at what was going on. I don't know how much I can say to not spoil it for people, but just the opening scene of episode 6, watch that. I think that's one of my most memorable funny moments, other than all my scenes being a great.
Dani, Babirye?
Well, as you had to. I'm going to say that the restaurant scene in episode 3, that's one of my favorite. And for Amy, my favorite is actually in episode 5, which is an inclusion and diversity meeting. And that's all I'm going to say. But yeah.
See, you really got them excited with that one. Babirye?
Mine would definitely be another restaurant scene where I don't know if Kwabena's just bitten off a bit more than he can chew. That was a joke, get it? 'Cause I'm in a restaurant more than he can chew. That's why I'm not running the show. And then the second one, thanks. The second one was when there's a gorgeous like bonding moment with Vanessa and Amy, which for me was a blessing to film. So yeah, those are my 2.
Yeah. I'm clearing the table so we can do one last goodbye. I want you all to thank Adjani, Dani, Demmy, and Babirye. And please finish Dreaming Whilst Black. You can watch it on Showtime, Paramount Plus. Thank you so much, you all. Thanks for waking up for us.
Am I supposed to go back to bed now?